5 facts that prove that evolution was real. Welcome to the factory. Discovering DNA. One of the more remarkable things about On the Origin of Species is that Charles Darwin articulated his theory without knowing the exact mechanism by which variation occurs. It wouldn't be until Watson and Crick's discovery of DNA in the 1950s that evolutionary biologists would finally have the answer. It also explains how the proliferation of genetic mutations, essentially copy errors, combined with the processes of natural selection, enables evolution to happen. Ultimately, DNA is the engine that drives evolution. It's an elegant, sometimes brutal, process that doesn't require a guiding hand. Natural selection is a wholly autonomous process, thus earning it the moniker of God Killer. Number 2. Finding transitional fossils. Species come and go, but life goes on. This is the essential lesson of the extensive fossil record, one that dates back 3.8 billion years. What's more, it's a chain of continuity used by evolutionary biologists to study the various interconnected progressions made by species as they change over time. So-called transitional fossils, like the recent discovery of Papocelli's, a 240 million-year-old reptile with a set of emerging turtle-like features, provide evidence for missing links between two different species by showing some of the traits of both. Although this isn't necessarily evidence of direct descent, biologists use each discovery of such new species to fill in the evolutionary gaps. Number 3. Matching traits to common ancestors. Typically, evolutionary biologists like to point out the difference in species as they branch away from common ancestors, but they also like to identify those characteristics that remain common to both. This serves the dual purpose of showing evolution in action while also demonstrating the subtle ways in which speciation can occur. For example, the form and structure, morphologies, of deer, moose, horses, and zebras are strikingly similar. Not surprisingly, they share a common ancestor. Similarly, seagulls and pelicans are similar in their appearance, behavior, and DNA. Again, they share a common ancestor from which they deviated in relatively minor but important ways. Similarly, Homo sapiens and Homo neanderthalensis were more alike than they were different, branching off from the evolutionary tree fairly recently in evolutionary history. Number 4. Observing evolution over short timescales. It's a myth that evolution requires timescales that are too long to be observed by humans. In many instances, environmental changes occur so suddenly that certain species are forced to adapt quickly to the changing conditions. A classic example is the peppered moth, an organism that evolved a particular color variation as a consequence of the Industrial Revolution. Prior to this period, these moths regularly appeared in versions of black and white, but owing to sooty populations from factories, the white moths had a hard time blending in. The result was an increase in black moths and a dramatic decrease in white moths. University of Wisconsin geneticist Sewell Wright referred to it as the clearest case in which a conspicuous evolutionary process has actually been observed. Number 5. Simulating evolution on computers. Another way to witness evolution is to simulate it. Evolutionary biologists have been doing this for years, using computers to create virtual populations subjected to all sorts of environmental pressures. The beauty of these simulations, aside from demonstrating that natural selection actually works, is that scientists can run their simulations at high speeds to observe sweeping changes over long timescales. What's more, they can run the same simulation thousands of times to produce consistent, measurable results. Subscribe to The Factory for more facts daily.